Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another live stream, Catch Up with Mayo. And I'm here to say hello, here to answer questions, if any, here to discuss the Beatles, Paul McCartney, his new upcoming album, and his new song. So, see, we already got people waiting here. So I thank you all for showing up, and I'm going to start saying hello to people like James, for example. Hi, James. Feeling it is a little cold. I turned the heat up. I just did. This is the month of March, and it's the way the month of March is. It's very finicky, and you never know what to expect. Different weather. Can't stand January, February, and March. April. That's what I'm pulling for. And even April these days can be cold as well, actually. Hi, Gary. Good to see you here. Joseph, Mantaneo, always a pleasure. Ramoga, hello. What's on your so-called mind, right? Okay, Joseph, so what's new? Are you sticking to the black vinyl for the new McCartney album? Or will you be getting at least one more and maybe the CD? Yeah, well, I should have mentioned that from the very beginning, I'm always going to get the CD. The CD is what I'm going to be playing mostly, probably. And yeah, the black vinyl. But I'm glad you asked me because I also pre-ordered, you ready for this? The green vinyl. That's right. Yeah. Originally, I said I'm not going to get any colored vinyl, but, I don't know how many variations there are right now. There may be 6 or 7 colors or something like that. I'm just guessing. And out of all of them, I'm only getting the green. That's what I'm saying now. Well, yeah, no. I'm sticking with the green. Why am I doing it? Because, I like the color. For this album, green to me seems nice. But also, I was noticing that the cover for the green vinyl, I'm specifically talking about the green vinyl copy that's available on Paul's site, it has the font, the lettering is in green. So I kind of like that. In addition to the green vinyl record, I like the change of the font to green from red. So I kind of like that. So yeah, I'll be getting black vinyl, green vinyl, and CD. At least that's the way it's looking right now. Hello, Patrick. Do you think there will be more singles from the Boys of Dungeon Lane before its release? And if so, when do you think they'll come out? I'm guessing there will be because the album is not coming out for 2 months. I mean, almost to the day, right? Today is March 28th, and the album is not due out till May the 29th. So we're looking at 2 months, right? Now, when exactly will they come out? I don't know. I have no idea, but I do think we'll get another one. That's my guess. So far, we learned that Paul McCartney, he played at the Fonda Theater in California last evening, and he did not do any songs from the upcoming album. And he's playing again tonight. So who knows? I mean, he said that he hadn't learned the song yet, or maybe the band hadn't learned it, but pre-ordered the new McCartney album yesterday on Amazon, Vital and CD, Vinyl. I think a lot of you people use like, what is it? I don't know what you call the voice speak to enter your comments, but anyway, hello Nick. Anyway, Nick CD man, the vinyl and CD. Pirate Gamer Boy, hello. And hello, D, J, etc. Hello, I don't, BB. What do I call you, George? George, this is easy. George, hi, George. Yeah, it was a pretty dull set list. The set list is going around now. You can read the set list, and it's the usual suspects. It's the usual songs, unfortunately. And It's also it was a shorter show that he played at the Honda Theater. So it's not only is it the same songs, but it's kind of an abbreviated version of the same songs too. But look, before anybody says anything, I'm glad that he's going to be 84 very soon and still doing this. It is just incredible. I actually watched the Space Within Us 2005 concert that Paul gave. And I've seen that many times, but I really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite DVDs of Paul's, past performances. So I ordered the white vinyl and the CD from Amazon. Yeah, the white vinyl is an Amazon exclusive. Hello, Douglas. Do you think fans would be upset if he only did his solo material at his concerts and no Beatles? I do. I think there are a lot of fans out there that really, to them, the Beatles are it, everything. They really tolerate some of them, the solo stuff, which, I would be very happy if Paul did an entire solo songs concert. I think a lot of us McCartney fans would like that. I got the CD and the green vinyl off Paul's site. I'm itching to get the pink or the black vinyl. Oh boy, here we go. Yeah, this is it. Been here, been there, done that. Been there, done that. Back when we had McCartney 3 and that craziness of all the different releases of McCartney 3. And at one point or another, I had gotten almost every color variation of McCartney 3, and I sold a lot of them because I don't need them all and I don't want them all anymore. It becomes something that when you're a diehard collector, it's almost like a disease. You have to have every one of them, every variant. And do you really have to? Well, that's up to the individual. It's fun at the time. You get kind of swept up in the hoopla of the moment. I'd have thought the gold vinyl would have sold out, but there's still lots available. Speech to text. That's what I'm talking about. Typing too quick causes errors. We have, this is Zach, perhaps. Hello. CD Man says, nope, just bad typing. Sorry about that. I didn't know. I like the new single, but an outspoken YouTuber has said it's perhaps better than any of his Beatle ballads. Come on, seriously? I'm glad you brought that up, Jerry, because I think the new song, Paul's new song, Days We Left Behind, is really good. But I think some people are really taking it too far. It's still early. I've only, how many times I've heard Days We Left Behind? Twice. And I liked it. And I liked it even better the second time. Is it one of his greatest songs he's ever done? Are the lyrics in the song among the greatest lyrics he ever wrote? It's a little too early for me to make that determination. Maybe as the months go by, years, I'll come to that decision myself. But I just get the feeling that some people are really, really going too far with this. It's better than any of his Beatle ballads. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. No way. It's good. It's quite good. But people are going a little crazy. Good evening to you. Have you got as sentimental and mushy with this new one like other YouTubers? Are you just okay with it? I get the sentimental feeling. It is wistful and emotional. I do get emotional. I could feel the emotion in it. I think, as I said, I think some people take it a little farther than I do. Did Paul McCartney's 1965 moped crash result in a black eye? More than just a black eye. Did he? I know there's a photograph that exists of him after the moped crash. But yeah, he looks pretty messed up in it. The song reminds me of Here Today. Someone told me that he really doesn't like the new song, and let me tell you, so far, I've gotten hundreds of comments, and I've read comments on other people's videos, and very few people don't like the song. But one of them on my video in the comments said he didn't like the song and then added that he thought there was a ripoff of Johnny Cash's version of the song "Hurt." And I just to double check, I played "Hurt," Johnny Cash song, and yeah, it's similar. I'm not going to say it's a blatant ripoff. I wouldn't go that far, but it is similar, I think, from what I hear. Um, let's see. Okay, I wish Paul could play Magneto and Titanium Man and call me back again. Stop playing Band on the Run. We're sick of it. Well, he did not play Band on the Run at the Honda Theater last night. That's one thing, anyway. But you see, the problem is that, of course, as we know, every time Paul does a show or a tour, there are always going to be people there that have never seen him before. Some of them are young, too, and even older people that have never seen him before. And they want to hear Band on the Run. You know, I mean, if you had never seen Paul McCartney before and you wanted him to do like his hits, wouldn't you want to hear that? But yeah, but I happen to be sick of it, too. So then again, I'm sick of hearing Hey Jude, too, live. So let it be. I'm sick of hearing live and yada, yada, yada. The list goes on forever. Okay. I enjoyed your segment on Chuck Norris movies, Silent Rage, and I have a copy of it on DVD. Thank you. He's referring to my second channel. I have 3 channels. The second one is called Mr. Cinemayo. And on Mr. Cinemayo here, I did a review of a Chuck Norris movie called Silent Rage. You can check that channel up. Check it out. Put the thing up. All right, so there it is. Okay, I'll leave that up just for a little bit of time. Do you have the Lennon vinyl box set? The answer is no, I do not, actually. Early copies had a mispress. I remember that. The rock and roll album was a mispress. Ain't That a Shame on it twice. And You Can't Catch Me is missing. Yeah. Oh, you have the box with the mispress and a corrected copy. Very good. There he is, Michael Nolan. Okay, Michael, how you doing? It says it's far too late for him to go back to just post-Beatles stuff. Once he played more than the 5 he did with the classic Wings lineup, there was no going back. You know, you could be right there. You really could be. And I watched your take on the new song, and you gave it a pretty positive rating too. As I do, I give it positive too. You went really, really out far with it. So I know you like it. Okay, let me get rid of this now. Hold on, I'll get rid of this banner so it's not flashing in your face. There you go. Okay. All right. I'm happy with Days We Left Behind, but one of his greatest? No. As I say, at the moment, I'm not going to say it's one of his greatest, but it's really good. And I think as time goes on, I'll evaluate that a little bit more. I use speech to text. That's why my message had Beetle with 2 E's instead of BEA. Yeah, I was referring to that a little while ago when people, I don't know what they called it, speech to text. Yeah, that happens. Okay. Some people say vinyl is vital, I suppose. So that could explain that. Hypothetical, but if you had a Macca ticket, what amount of money would make you sell it if offered? Oh, I don't know. If I had a McCartney ticket and somebody wanted to give me, I don't know. I wouldn't spend that much to begin with. I don't know. I can't even think about it. I don't know. It depends on whatever situation I was in at the moment. If I paid $300 for it, you wanted to give me $1,000, maybe I'd let you have it for $1,000. But even then, the whole idea is that I want to see Paul. So I don't know. I'd like to see Paul at least one more time. I've seen him, I think, 11 times. Last time I counted, it was 11 times. I used to think 11 times was a good amount of times to see Paul until I realized there are people out there that have seen him over 100 times. And some of them 30, 40 times or 20-something times. So 11's not so many. But actually, I'm just not interested in traveling great length, a lot of miles to see Paul, especially if it's going to be the same old, same old. Like, I'm sorry, people. While I am very glad that McCartney's going to be 84 in June and that he's still out there performing and delighting his audiences who love him, I got to say, it's the set list that bothers me. I'm just tired of the same songs all the time, and I know he has to do a lot of them. He has to do them, But for me, I'm not going far. But I got off the track of where I was going with this. My point was that I would like to see Paul at least one more time. Yeah, but in order to do that, he's going to have to come in my area, which would be New York, New Jersey, around there. I would like to see him at least one more time, and hopefully he will make the rounds sometime with the new album. I'm hoping so. We'll see. All right, let's. I heard it once. The new song. It's good. Okay. I'm also wondering if we will get a deluxe edition of the album, which he has put out of his past albums. Even Kisses on the Bottom had an edition with 2 extra songs. Exactly. I think the answer to that is yes. I don't know that for a fact, but if I was going to bet you, I would bet you there were going to be other versions, or at least one other version, with a lot of songs on it. Now, we've heard that Paul supposedly did around 25 songs that could have went on this new album, which means that since there are 14 songs on this upcoming album, that leaves 11 songs. Yeah, I'm not good at math, but I figured that one out. There are like 11 songs left. Excuse me. For No One takes some beating. Yeah, if you mean that, it's hard to beat. For No One is definitely one of his all-time best, in my opinion, ballads. I did see one. I saw one phone video. There was one phone video I saw taken from the audience way back of the Fonda concert last night, and the song was "Golden Slumbers." Carry that weight in the end, the end of the concert. And from what I could hear, it was hard to hear because the crowd was singing along with him and stuff. So it didn't sound bad for his, recent current voice. Didn't sound bad in that. Now, I'm not going to judge it as if I was actually there at the show, but compared to some other clips I've heard recently of performances, it wasn't bad from what I heard of it. Let's see. Okay, Jenny Wren is so much better than that new single. Honestly, I like Jenny Wren a lot. I think it's too early to say. Right now. My instant feeling is that I would say that if I had to pick, Jenny Wren is probably superior to Days We Left Behind. But it's too early. It's only been out a day or two. Okay. There's a great reel of Paul entering the Fonda Theater. I saw that. And there are his adoring fans held back by a crowd area with police. You'd think it was 1964 again with the screams. So cool. Yeah, well, I got to see Paul up close like that when he arrived in New Jersey. It's incredible. It is like Beatlemania in a way, It is. I saw that clip of him arriving last night. It really, anytime I see that, it's so exciting, I have to say. And Hurt is 9 Inch Nails. There you go. Oh, hello, Nick. It's so good to hear from you. Thank you for showing up here. I'm glad you love the new song as much as me. Cannot wait for the album. Right on, as they say, Nick. Right on. Good to see you here. Or as Paul would say, so glad to see you here. I wonder what promise he made in Forthland Road that he was keeping till today. Sounds flimsy. That's one thing. I've been reading the lyrics of the song. People are praising the lyrics to this song. And you say flimsy. I like that word. It's like none of it is really, it's kind of like, I don't know, I want to use the right term. camouflage a little bit, maybe. It's not really all of the words are not that clear what he means, but they're good words. They're good lyrics, you know. Hey, 4D man, hello. I hear Paul McCartney forgiving his past transgressions in the new song. No one's to blame. Yeah, not just remembering. Maybe letting go of Pete Best conflict and Stu Sutcliffe conflict, as well as later Paul McCartney and John Lennon rows. Very well said, and it's a good thought. Yes, it does sound like the Johnny Cash version of Hurt. Well, that's what I think. Somebody mentioned it to me, and I played the Johnny Cash version. I thought it's similar. Now, the word I'll use is similar. I'm not going to say it's identical, but it is similar in feeling. Hello, George. George Smith says, reportedly, Paul said he wrote The Days We Left Behind in C, but they played in B and haven't learned it yet. That's what was said, yeah. And of course, thanks to Joan Borelli, big fan, who talked about her experience that she went to the first show. We watched the movie To the Devil a Daughter on Friday night. Christopher Lee, a young Nastasha Kinski, and pretty good. It's been a long time since I saw that. I saw it once many years ago. Don't remember it at all. I think that's a Hammer film still. I think that may be the last one of Hammer. I don't know. Back then. Do you have a Spanish copy of 67 to 70? The one with the different track list? I don't. Although I think I used to, but not anymore. I don't understand why it's called a single. There's no 7-inch single release. Any track on any album is relatively a single, so a little upset about that, but I like it. Yeah, these days a single could just mean a drop, an internet drop, a stream drop. I don't even know what you call these things today. I'm struggling here for the right words for it. But yeah, these days, single doesn't necessarily mean a single disc, like a record release. Yeah. But they still call them singles, I think. I sold some vinyl Thursday and got $200. Purging feels good. It does, and I'll be doing more purging. Yeah, on this channel, I'll be talking about it maybe as the months go by. I'm hoping that as the months get better, and the weather-wise, that I'll be doing more. Just came back home from a Goodwill trip. All the vinyl was crap, of course. They had a copy of More Hits by the Supremes, but no record in it. Oh, what's that? What good is that? Joe, did you know that Ginger Baker threatened Peter Noone in the early days? Did you know about this? I'd never heard anything about that. I didn't know that. I've never seen Paul live, and sadly, I probably never will. Well, if you want to see him, there might still be time. I don't know. But, that you have to make that happen if you can. Not everybody can. I know. I get it. Financially or, wherever he's playing physically, location-wise. I've seen Dylan live 7 times and Paul 1 time because Dylan tours near where I live frequently and Paul doesn't. Well, that does happen. Okay, if he was willing to not do, hold on, give me a second here. I ain't feeling my best today. If he was willing to not do Band on the Run the other evening, why not do that with 6 or 7 of his songs and give us a deep album cuts from the past? Oh boy, from your lips to Paul's ears. I wish. I really wish he would do that. I just think, he knows that a lot of people want to hear the songs that he does, But I would love it to be a lot more interesting and challenging. Okay, watching Lennon interviews, he tries to get out of the shadow of the Beatles, but I wonder if he was here. His new songs would be harping back to the past like Paul. Shame we will never know. We never know. And we were so robbed by the horrible, pathetic murder of John. So robbed. Okay, which color vinyl do you think will sound the best? I think they'll all sound pretty much the same. I don't know. there used to be a time where colored vinyl didn't necessarily sound very good, but I think we're past that now, and I think colored vinyl sounds good. So I don't know. Would I say the black vinyl probably sounds the best? Well, Lennon and Harrison always seem to be looking forever forward, never backwards. Well, that's what's interesting about it too with Paul, that he's looking back. We're hoping, from what I've read from people, I'm hoping too, that the new album coming out will be a lot of reminiscing and a lot of soul searching and a lot of deep feelings and fondness for the past. We're hoping that it's going to be a little more like that, because when you think about it, and it's true, at this point, McCartney's 83, he'll be 84 in June. And, what are you going to do? Sing a pop song? Are you going to try to compete with the kids today in 2026? It makes sense to, kind of be the wizened elder statesman now, looking back. I think that's a very good approach. And I really think we still have to hear the album yet because we haven't heard the whole album. But I still think that this is a good way to take it. This is a good direction at this point. I really think it's a good strategy if there is any thought behind it as far as marketing and stuff. It's a good move, I think. Remains to be heard. Let's see. With Paul's track record, some of the future bonus songs will probably be better than some of the songs he chose on the album. That's often stated. Yeah, it's often stated that Paul is never the best judge of which songs to put out. And some of his bonus tracks, the tracks that he puts on singles and extras on CDs or what have you, are sometimes better than ones that appeared on the album. Of course, a lot of people feel that, and I'm inclined to agree within reason that that case can be made for Off the Ground. A lot of good songs from Off the Ground didn't make it to the actual album. Patrick, hello, Patrick. Okay, I think Days We Left Behind is trapped in the Now and Then box. Have you rewatched Man on the Run Again? No, I only saw it once in the theater. He should play Rocky Raccoon and Two of Us instead of Let It Be. Yeah, I think he's done Rocky Raccoon. Two of Us, too. I think. Are you like me in preferring Don't Let Me Down and Get Back? Well, it's hard to say. Even though I love John Lennon, I love that song, Don't Let Me Down. Get Back is the better song. If you're going to do an A and B side, in my opinion, Get Back is more of a pop hit. I love Don't Let Me Down, but I don't go crazy worrying about that. You know what I mean? These days, I will say I'm a little bit more overdosed on Get Back. I'm not as tired of Don't Let Me Down. Okay, I think you would have tons of fun if you joined me in buying all of the color variants of the new album. Come on, go for it. There won't be many more albums to have this collecting fun with. Well, I got to tell you, Nick, I don't know if you know, I've done things like that in the past, but I've gotten to the point where I have to admit my mortality, I guess you could say, has hit me. I'm going to be 64 next month. When I'm 64, bum, bum, God willing. And suddenly I'm just one of those guys that realizes I don't need all this stuff anymore. Some of the stuff, I'm always going to need something. But I don't need or want every one of the vinyl colors, so, but it is fun to collect, definitely fun. I heard something like this. Bazooka Joe, the record store owner, he did hurt himself. Yeah. And he's mending right now. Yeah. With this release, is it hard to hold back on different variants? Would it mean Mr. Mayo 5 years ago had them all? The answer is it's not hard anymore. It's very easy. I've done this for a while now, and I have no desire at all for all of them. In fact, originally, I've even made statements like this. Okay, I'll own it. I'll own up. I did say I'm only going to get the CD and the black vinyl. That's it. That's it. And then I started thinking about the green vinyl, and the green vinyl is a nice color. But I also like very much that the front cover, it was in a different style font, the green font. Okay, where it says the boys of Dungeon Lane, and the number on the bottom, the bottom right corner, I think it is green instead of red. And I thought that looks nice. So a variation. I'll get one variation. I ordered one variation. That's it. Let's see. What are your thoughts on House on Haunted Hill tonight on Svengoolie? I think it's a very good horror film from the 1950s. It's kind of a classic. I used to see it on TV all the time when I was growing up in the 1970s. It's a must-watch, in my opinion. Okay. Ginger Baker threatened everyone. Okay. I rewatched the original Death Wish yesterday. What are your memories of New York City back in the 70s? In the 70s, I don't remember going in. I was younger then. I didn't go into the city that much. I didn't go into the city, New York City, until the 80s, really. The early, funny enough, 1980, 81, 82. I don't know. But, it seemed like they cleaned it up a little bit since then, maybe. I've seen Mickey Dolenz live about 3 weeks ago, and it was pretty good. Yeah, Mickey's good. I like Mickey. Hello, Mad Team. And you must be happy, by the way, Mad Team, that the New York Mets won their first game. Am I right? Anyway, I bought the George Live in Japan vinyl. It sounds great. Why do you dislike the album so much? Just curious. Well, I don't dislike. Maybe I came across as as if I disliked it. It's just a little laid back. I don't know. It's kind of a little on the mellower side. I'm so glad it exists because George didn't do a lot of touring or concerts, really, as we'd like, much like John, I guess you could say. And at least we have a record of those songs. In this case, we hadn't got enough time to get tired of George doing Beatles songs like Taxman and I Want to Tell You and Piggies and everything that he did on that album. So it's nice to have. I'm glad it exists. It's just not a favorite. I just don't think there's a lot of energy behind it. When it comes to live albums, a lot of times what I like to do is I would prefer to watch the show. When it comes to live music, I don't like listening to live albums as much. I'd always rather watch the concert. I'd rather, and that's one of my biggest hopes, is that somewhere along the line, the George Harrison estate puts out a nice visual film or, documentary or something of George live in Japan, and there's the Royal Albert Hall, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. Was it Royal Albert Hall? Help me. Beatly Tone, I know you were there, if it's what I'm thinking it was. But wherever it was, there's stuff they can work with, even if it's not just a complete concert. If you can't do a whole complete concert, there's enough there that you can take different songs and you can make a documentary ahead of it. The George Harrison live in Japan, 1991, documentary. I think it can be done because, he did that along with Eric Clapton, and there are a lot of good press conference clips of them from there arriving in Japan, talking to the press, doing the gigs. I think there were like 10 shows or so in 1991 in December. So I think that really would have been, something you can make a feature on. Okay, Spring Hill Jim, hello. I highly recommend Mark Lewison's new documentary, Evolver 62. I've heard a lot of praise for that. Say it's very interesting. No deep cuts because of money, bums on seats. Maybe a lot of people won't want to hear those other songs. Hopefully for Paul, it's not all about the money. I don't believe when it comes to McCartney that it's all about the money. I think he's more he likes to entertain people. He likes to perform. He's been doing this since he's a teenager, right? And he absolutely likes the feeling between himself and the audience, and he loves the accolades. He likes people to appreciate and like his music. So anyway, what I'm saying is I don't think the money is the driving force. Okay. Ringo Starr is coming to Santa Clara in July. I'm near San Francisco, so very close by. Tickets are about $195. Definitely going to have to see him. If you've never seen him, see him, please, before it's too late. Ringo puts on a good show. He gets into it, and it's good with his friends, with a little help from his friends. It's always good to hear the other artists doing their songs, too. Is there a book on the Beatles that you reread often? I don't reread many Beatle books, no. I mean, I've read a good share of them in my time, but I don't really reread them. I mean, maybe I'm more likely to consult books that are reference guides about certain releases and things like that, or certain dates I want to look up for, like, historical purposes, Ginger Baker was pissed off at Paul because he lost a lot of money in Lagos. Paul has a lot of years behind him than John or George. Yeah. Too bad he doesn't pull out Babies in Black, a rare deep cut that his former group did for 2 years with great success. I don't know at this point if I would want to hear that. I mean, I don't know. I love the song Babies in Black, but I think you need John singing along with him for that. That's just the way it feels. I never understand why the Billy Joel single "Turn the Lights On Again" came and went with a limited single from his website, but no wider release or included on the greatest hits collection. I don't know. Come to think of it, I've forgotten about that too. I know it was a big deal at the time. Hey, there he is, Tom Liverani. I heard that there will be a few A-listers attending Paul's show tonight. Maybe Ringo? Well, I heard that last night, and again, this is all thanks to Joan Borelli. Joan Borelli deserves all the credit, and she's the roving reporter, so I'll give her the credit. She said that in attendance were Dustin Hoffman, for example, and Tom Hanks that she spotted last night. I got to tell you, man, Dustin Hoffman, that's fantastic. I remember first hearing the album Flaming Pie, and a few songs gave me chills, and I worried about him. Then Linda passed. Suddenly, they hit home to me. Paul's setlist tells a lot about his confidence in his own music. I don't agree with that at all, really. I think Paul has a lot of confidence in his own music, but he does like to give the people what they want, or what he thinks they want. When he first started touring again, say in the late 80s, 89 or so, he said when he's compiling his set list, he thinks to himself, if I were a fan and I was going to this show, what songs would I like to hear him do? And he kind of put himself in the fans' place. And you can't really knock most of the songs that he picks. You can understand why he chooses the songs that he does from a fan's perspective, diehard fans' perspective. But that's what he seems to do, If he was just more interested in doing what he wants completely for himself, like, I don't really care, I'm going to play what I want. I'm going to do all the songs from Back to the Egg. I'm going to tap more into wildlife. I'm going to do that because I want, as an artist, that's what I feel I need to do for myself. That would be great. But yeah, not a lot of people are going to be as wild about that. The same playlist is truly disappointing. I know I feel like that, but as I say, I want to back off on that a little bit, because even though I'd like a different set list, I still have nothing against seeing Paul McCartney live if he comes to my neck of the woods once every couple of years, once every 3 years or something, whatever it is, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is. It's still a great night out. I mean, instead of watching TV, flipping on these same old shows on your sofa, you have a night where you go to see Paul McCartney doing those songs again once every few years. I mean, one night out with Paul, come on, in the same air, breathing the same air, same vicinity as he is. even though it's the same stuff. I'm just saying, and this is for me personally. You could be different. I don't really feel an urge to go out of my way very far for the same old, same old. You follow? At least that's how I feel. Do you remember listening to When I'm 64 in your teens? And boom, here you are, 64. I have. Scary. Yeah, it's a scary thing. I'm not 64 yet. I'll be 64 in April at some point. And yeah, it's really weird. But the first thing you realize when you're 64, and hopefully a lot of you feel the same, is it's not what you thought it was. It's not as bad as you thought it was. It's not as old as you. The only problem I have with aging is just that there's less time left coming. That's all. The age is fine. I mean, so far, knock wood, just wood. I'm knocking wood here, but it's just the idea that there's less fun to come than you had already. Just the time factor of it, is the only thing that bothers me about it. And if the other songs on the album are about the past, maybe it's a hint that this is his last, or maybe he'll do an album of rockers for a finale. You always think Paul is never going to retire, right? My girlfriend thinks he'll die on stage, and I say, please, heaven forbid, I don't want that to happen to Paul on stage. But that's what she sometimes thinks. I think that if this album turns out to be good, very good, and it's critically acclaimed and acclaimed from the fans, and they love it, and it's kind of like a love letter to Paul's life and his past, and he nails it, I think it would be a good way to stop. Now, the idea of stopping, Paul stopping, that's everything against who Paul McCartney's always been. The guy's always been making music. He loves it. He needs to, I think. He can't help it. Even if he wants to stop, he can't stop. But at some point, I think to go out on a high note might be good. But we don't know yet. We don't know how the album's going to be. We don't know how the whole album is going to sound. We don't know how it's going to be, embraced. We don't know. So we'll find out. It seems 2 months seems a long way away. I got to be honest with you. Okay. Favorite Amicus horror movie. I got to give that some thought. I mean, I like some of those anthology films where there are different stories involved. House That Dripped Blood is a good one. Dr. Terror's House of Horrors is another one. What's for dinner tonight? Meatloaf. The fact that the price for the vinyl is higher than it used to be is also a factor to take in when trying to buy. Yeah, I got to say, to order a single LP from Paul's website with shipping, now this is shipping from England, cost me $52 for one record. That's it, I mean, this is 2026, and I am ordering it from another country, and they're going to put the shipping charges in. Okay, let's see. I hope that Paul does an album called Cavendish Avenue. One of my ongoing semi-abandoned projects surveys all the history that went down Cavendish Avenue. No wonder Paul McCartney held on to that property. It's a time capsule. There you go. Hello, Elliot. Elliot is another one. And by the way, thank you to Elliot. Elliot often comes up with a scoop. I got to give credit where it's due. Sometimes Elliot, he tells me, hey, Joe, a lot of people do this. They'll tell me, hey, Joe, here's some news. And I already heard it 10 times already. But there's been many times where Elliot is in right away. Joe, if the new McCartney album came out as Zoetrope vinyl, would you buy it? No, I would. I do not like Zoetrope vinyl. I accept gifts. I mean, but I'm not going to buy them anymore. I bought them and I regret them. I bought a couple. I regret them. To be honest, I'm looking forward to the Lennon Ono movie. I'm a bit macked out. Yeah, that's the John Lennon Yoko Ono film coming to theaters. It's going to be in the cinemas coming up. It's called Power to the People. John and Yoko live or something in New York City. And I know there are two dates that I'm aware of, one of them being April 29th, and then another day is May the 3rd. So it's the 3rd of May and the 29th of April. I don't know if there are any in between, but I know there were at least two in my neck of the woods. Okay, I'm fine with the black vinyl version that I've ordered, but for the very first time ever, I was tempted to want to get the white vinyl version. It was close, but no cigar. Well, I tell you, I don't know how you're going to feel about the whole album, but I got to tell you again, your video where you talked about how much you were impressed by this new song, I was impressed. I mean, I think you even went too far, pal. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, I think you even went way out, uh, way above in your praise. But that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying that it was quite extreme. So maybe it's worth it to you to get a colored vinyl too. Only a Northern Song and Blue Jay Way are incredible. I like Only a Northern Song better than Blue Jay Way. Blue Jay Way is not a favorite of mine from George, but I mean, I still like both songs. There's also a green cover variant of the CD. Yes, I've heard about that. I have not seen it yet, in print that I know of. But I'm just going to, I think I'm going to just stick with the standard CD. Do you prefer McCartney 1, McCartney 2, McCartney 3 in that order? It depends on my mood. These days, I like McCartney 2 and 3 even better than 1. I know that sounds insane to a lot of people. But again, I think McCartney 3's got some wonderful tracks on there, man. Of course, Maybe I'm Amazed, which I think Maybe I'm Amazed is maybe the best song he ever wrote. And that's saying a lot because the guy wrote tons of great songs. And it's got Every Night on it. It's got Man, We Was Lonely, and That Would Be Something. And Ooh You, it's got a lot of good songs on it. And Junk. So now I think of it, maybe, I don't know, I got to rethink this. Maybe they were all, I like them all. I really do. It's really hard to pick an order for that. Depends on my mood, I'd rather see the Dark Horse tour of 74. Well, I remember there was a time a few years ago where Danny Harrison was speaking as though we were going to get possibly some kind of form of the 1974 tour. They were going to try to find some good footage of it that's usable because it wasn't well received, and it wasn't, by most accounts, if not all accounts, it wasn't a very good tour. So I would love to see that. I hope so. Okay. Hello. Have a good weekend. How was your day going? Wednesday was my birthday. Well, a late happy birthday to you. Day is going good. And of course, being here with all you is always the icing on the cake. Let's put it that way. It's always fun to do this on Saturday. I look forward to it. There's got to be a Live in Japan in the Harrison estate. I got a good DVD pro shot that came with the Dark Horse Years box set. Yeah, there are some good performances professionally shot, exactly. And we're lucky to have those. Definitely lucky to have those on the Dark Horse Years set and everything, but the DVD of it. But they need to do more with it, Baz Luhrmann should work on George in the Japan footage for the concert film. For those who don't know, Baz Luhrmann is responsible for the new Elvis Presley film called Epic, Elvis Presley in Concert, which is really good. Yeah. Okay. He needs to drop My Valentine. That tune drags. Interesting that you should say that. I wish I had it handy. I just had an anniversary with my girlfriend, and she bought me, that's our song. Our song is My Valentine, just the way it worked out. And she bought me a magnet that she found. I don't know, I forget what she said, where she got it, where I guess they're able to put images on the magnet and a song, where you press a button and a song plays. She picked one from My Valentine, and you put the magnet on the fridge or wherever you want to put a magnetized item, press the button, the song is on there. How great is that? But anyway, Yeah, My Valentine. I like My Valentine. I think it gets a lot of hard knocks, but I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind him eliminating it from the set. To be honest, as much as I like it at this point, enough in the set. However, he does it, I believe, for his wife Nancy, because I think that's for her, really. So James Farley, hello, thank you for stopping by. Jimmy McCulloch is the best guitarist McCartney ever had, except for John and George. I'm not. I like. I would say Jimmy was the best, but I think Lawrence Juber is right there. I mean, I can't. Lawrence Juber to me was a great guitarist. Uh, it was a great guitarist for Wings, and he is a great guitarist. I have a lot of his CDs, Lawrence Juber, where he does the guitar picking versions of Beatles songs. Pretty amazing. A nice guy too. Met him many times. Paul doesn't do shows for the money. He has a need to perform and get feedback from his audience. It's food for his soul. I agree, but then just to play devil's advocate, it is true that sometimes the prices for things are a little up out there. Not as high as some people here thought. I got to ask Michael Noland. I'm going to put you on the spot if you're still here, Michael. Do you have a formal statement about that? Because I know that the guys over Two Legs, they revealed that it turned out that the tickets were only like $230, $250, around there, $230, $250, something like that. Now, I know we were talking about third-party sellers and all that. When you get into like third-party sellers and all that bullshit, it can go crazy. But it wasn't anywhere near these $7,000, $10,000, $20,000 ranges, though. In fairness, at least that worked out. At least that wasn't so crazy. Yeah, that's a good book. Beatles, an illustrated record. That's one of the earliest Beatle books that I had, and so did a lot of fans who grew up in the 70s. That was a great book. Setlist spoiler, but has Maybe I'm Amazed and Live and Let Die not in his vocal range anymore, hence them not being in the set. He's been singing Maybe I'm Amazed and Live and Let Die, I believe. It's not in this set. I don't think he performed either one at the. I don't know. Did he perform Maybe I'm Amazed? I forget. Last night at the Honda. I know he didn't do Live and Let Die, but he's done them recently though. I would love to see a documentary of George in Japan. Great idea. One thing you can say about Paul, no matter how his voice sounds, he does not lack energy. Really looking forward to the new album. Yeah, me too. I really think this was a really tasty appetizer, this new song, Days We Left Behind. Really tasty appetizer. A lot of people, I know people looking forward to this new McCartney album who aren't usually even that into Paul. And they say, wow, I'm looking forward to the record now, the album. So there you go. There you got tickets. Am I a jazz fan? No. I'm not a jazz fan at all, actually. I think I kind of agree with this guy.
Who put this on? It's just a random selection of notes in no particular order. For fuck's sake.
I always like to put that on. I'm not a fan. I'm not a jazz fan. Or in particular, I'm not a jazz fusion. Maybe that's not the right thing. What's the term? Freestyle jazz? No, not a fan of that. I like some old big band stuff. Maybe some Dixieland. Okay, hold on, we're getting there. I'll get your comments in here. Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. I hate it when celebrities get to go to the gigs. They're entitled non-fans. Well, I don't know if that's the case for all of them. It's probably the case for some. But in this case, I know that Tom Hanks is a fan, and I know that Dustin Hoffman is a fan, or at least he met Paul once and asked him to write a song for him back in the 70s. Or not for him, but he asked to write a song. I think he came out with Picasso's Last Words, which I can't stand that song. Picasso's Last Words are one of my least favorite McCartney solo songs. There, I said it. But anyway, Dustin Hoffman challenged Paul in the 70s, can he write a song about anything? And that's what he came up with. I was really surprised that Paul didn't play at least one song from his Dungeon Lane album. Yeah, well, there's always Tonight, Tom, right? Tonight's the second show. He said that they didn't learn it yet or whatever, to play it live or whatever like that. I don't know. We'll see. What about playing bebop? Bip-bop. I like bip-bop. It's just a little ditty. Not a great song, but it's fun. Gigs today are also timed to the last second, as the music has to coincide with back screens and animations. There's no room for jamming. It's too mechanical and structured now. True. Okay, what's Danny Sugar? Oops, sorry, wrong show. Yeah, I wonder what Danny Sugar is. He still eating the devil dogs and Tootsie Rolls? I don't know. When you're 64, man, yeah, you're going to be like walking with a cane now and growing that big white beard. Yeah, I'm going to try to do a little video about being 64. We'll see how I have an idea. If I stick with it. On March 7, I woke up to when I'm 64, and then birthday. My wife planned that. Oh, good for you. So happy birthday. Regarding turning 64, it's only a number. You're as old as you feel, and music makes you feel young. That's a good point. That's a good point. The other thing I always say, Tom, when people say you're as old as you feel, what if you're like 45 years old and you feel like you're 80? You know what I mean? You have health problems. Yeah, it seems obvious you're as old as you feel, but I get you. No, I get what you're trying to say. And I just saw, who was it? William Shatner was 95. Holy cow, he's in good shape, great shape. Hello there, sir. I'm a Black Chub Bear. But wasn't his lyric book an homage to his past? There you go. The Beatles were the very best. I don't believe that. No, yeah. I agree with that. Has Paul sung Flaming Pie in Every Night recently? Yeah, he's done them recently. Flaming Pie's been a staple for a while. And I think Every Night, too, he's done a few times not too long ago, I think. Been a while. On another note, rewatched the DVD The Space Between Us. I just watched that last night again from his 2005 tour. He sounded amazing. Of course, it was 20 years ago. Exactly. And we didn't think about it at the time. Yeah, I watched that recently. I did. Yesterday, I watched it. Really good video. Space Between Us. I recommend it. And I also put on a Disney special that I have recorded from 1990 called Paul McCartney Going Home. And it shows you the 1989-90 tour. And boy, I remember seeing him then. He was an old man of 47. I was watching him at Madison Square Garden and thinking, wow, Paul's getting old, 47. Now I watch this. He's running around on stage doing the song Birthday. And during the music break in the song, him and Robbie McIntosh are running around pointing guitars at each other, challenging each other. And I'm like, look, Paul's got a lot of energy for an 83-year-old, but he had a lot more even then. He was 47, of course. What do you expect? Right? I say that. But to just watch it again and think, boy, he's younger than I thought he was at the time, Now, Paul's got 20 years on me. He's exactly 20 years older than me. But Mr. Woodhaven, hello. Since prices today are 10 times higher than back in the 60s and 70s, the price of albums is about right for today. Yeah, luckily I don't buy that many. The Beatles experienced too much success too fast. They needed to get away from it all. If you're getting the color vinyl or don't like going out, then I understand ordering online. But if you're getting just the black vinyl, I would like to go to my local record store. Well, I plan to get the black vinyl going to one of my record stores. And As far as the other one though, the color vinyl, you got to order that online. Play the Godzilla clip for Ramoga. Nah, maybe not. Paul, Psychos Platters. Paul, I just found out recently. I mean, I don't follow everything about you had a loss, and I want to give you my condolences. Okay, I just found out about that. Okay, sorry. The only problem I have, if this new album is all slow, reflective, and harping and reminiscing about the past, is that it leaves the listener depressed and empty. We'll see. We'll see. I always say, look, folks, unfortunately, sadness and negativity are also part of life. It's not all peaches and cream, and it's not all positive and up all the time. So that's why, I like to think that some people appreciate me because I'm a person like, I really like the new Paul song. So when the song came out, I'm going to tell you the truth. When I tell you that I like a song, I really like it, because I'll tell you if I don't. Like Ringo's new song didn't grab me at all. The new Ringo song, I didn't care for it. So where am I going with all this? You just reminded me that it seems to me a lot of times certain fans, all they really want to do, they just want to hear only. Don't talk to me unless it's going to be glowing positivity all day, every day. My audience, for the most part, I believe appreciates me because sometimes I'm up and I'm happy and I'm thrilled. Other times I'm like, Debbie Downer. It depends on the situation. I'm very, very real. That's why I kind of, even though I love Paul, George, and Ringo, that's why I'm kind of like a John Lennon guy. I kind of like that about him, that he kind of like told you like he felt it. Anyway, that you reminded me of that, is why I brought that up. So anyway. According to Joan, who reported two legs last night, Paul did Flaming Pie last night. Now, I don't remember if he has every night, but he did pull out Flaming Pie at the Fonda. He also did Flaming Pie last year. I know when Andy Nichols saw him at the Bowery show, we did Flaming Pie. Yeah, Flaming Pie has been a kind of a standard for a while. We'll have to agree to disagree, Joe. As I said in my video, I would compare it to his best ballads from Flaming Pie and some Beatle ballads as well. Okay, very good. Hey, look, I like all kinds of opinions. That's amazing. And I certainly am not going to fault anybody for thinking that it's one of the greatest of the greats. That's a good thing, Will you be on the lookout for any Dungeon Lane promo displays? Yeah, why not? Why not? If I see any, fine. I'll try to get them. I collect displays, but I need more space. Paul McCartney is almost 10 years older than me, Brian says. Dark Horse tour seemed very good. Reorchestrated Beatles songs. I'd love to see that. Sorry if I missed it earlier, but what variant did you purchase from England? I bought the green vinyl from the U.S. store, and the shipping was $12. But whoa, I didn't realize. I don't know. Wait a minute. I don't know where I got it from. Actually, wait. The thing is, here's the deal. I said this before. I don't usually put my credit card online. My girlfriend puts it online. She orders it. Then the next time we go to the bank, I give her cash. Give my girlfriend, here's the cash. Could you order it for me? And that's what we do. Now, I don't know. I wonder what store I did. Shipping was $12. Wait, I'm all mixed up here. I bought the green vinyl from the U.S. store. I don't know which store it was, but all I know is it came out to $52 with the shipping. There you go. It will be very sad when all the Beatles have gone. Oh, naturally it will. We grew up with these guys our whole lives, It's going to be terrible. But I got to tell you, I'm adjusted already. I know that I've been anticipating this for the last 20 years or so. I mean, I know these things can happen anytime, and I'll never be happy about it. I'll never be thrilled about it, but I definitely am prepared from a mature perspective. This could be any day, God forbid. You almost talked yourself into choosing the McCartney album, Joe. That makes you almost right, brother. The McCartney album is clearly the better of the three, although I love all three as well. Um, well, I guess it depends where you're coming from. When McCartney 2 came out, I was 18 years old and I was graduating high school. And that reminds me of that summer of 80. So that's probably why I have a fondness for McCartney 2. Any Beatles songs Paul's never played live on a wish list? I'm surprised he's never pulled out I Want to Hold Your Hand. I think it would bring the house down. I think I Want to Hold Your Hand is a good choice insofar as bringing the house down. I'm still trying to think, are there any songs that he's never pulled out? I don't think he's ever done What You're Doing. I'm only trying to think of songs he hasn't done yet, but he's pretty much run the gamut. Baz Luhrmann and Peter Jackson work on George Dark Horse 74 tour. Come on, Danny. I love The Night Before. I just watched a playback of that too. He premiered that song. The Night Before is one of my favorite, lesser known tracks, saying, not hits. And I love that song. God, it's one of my all-time favorites. And I actually pulled out a DVD that I have. It's an unofficial DVD where the first night that he performed that song live was on July, I think the 11th, July 11th of the year 2011. I think that was it. I watched at Yankee Stadium, live at Yankee Stadium. I went with my nephew. And it was the first night, he says, before he sings the song, he says, this is the first time we've never done this song ever. And it was the first time that he did it at Yankee Stadium in 2011. Mick Taylor could have joined Wings after he left the Rolling Stones. Well, that's it. That's it. You don't always have to agree, and I don't always agree with you, Michael Nolan. You know that. But I like people that are willing to sometimes go against the grain a bit, sometimes ruffle a few feathers here and there, but it can go the other way too. Just like I don't want to hear somebody that's always positive all the time. Oh, Paul can do no wrong. John can do no wrong. The Beatles can do no wrong. Just as I get tired of that, I also get tired of people that are always negative all the time. And all they want to do is talk about this is what's wrong with Paul. This is what's wrong with John. This is what's wrong with George Ringo and the Beatles. And I know I'm talking to you, Dave Pounds. I'm talking to you out there. People that are always negative. Not good. My Valentine is a lovely song. He left the stage with Nancy in Paris on December 4, 2024. Do you remember where you were when you heard Michael Jackson passed? Yeah, I do. I was at my sister's home. My sister has now passed also, my younger sister. She's been gone for some years now. But anyway, I was in her backyard, and we were just sitting at a table in the yard, and the news came over the radio. Yeah. Okay, that's nice. Very good, very good. Fair enough. Okay, the fondest set list I read shows that Macca did every night. Oh, he did. He did it. I don't remember. I mean, I did read it. I did read it once. I browsed through it. Didn't do Maybe I'm Amazed or Live and Let Die last night. Hello, Penny Lane. What's going on with you? Funny, Joan told Tom last night that he didn't perform the new song because they haven't learned it yet. Maybe you shouldn't put it out a day before the Fonda concert. What the hell is wrong with that? Oh, God. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, jazz fusion is jazz with rock elements. Maybe I was wrong or too harsh about calling it jazz fusion. It's improv jazz that I hate, I think. I've already made a video response to the gentleman that you are referring to, Joe, and I've also addressed it on my stream as well. Okay, I know I've been following it back and forth. Unless is there a brand new one, or is this one from a couple of days ago? Because I pretty much I've been following it. That is, I've been following it as long as it's not members only. You know, just doing that for fun. You see what see what I did there? See what I did there? Andrew Lloyd Webber wrote a song for Elvis, not thinking Elvis would record it. It's Easy for You. It's an incredible song. There you go. Sorry, Joe, you may have mentioned it, but for every release, no matter who it is, do you still get the CD version for your car? The CD version is my first version always. Always. It doesn't matter whether it's for the car. Doesn't matter whether it's to listen to here on my CD player in the room. It's always CD first, vinyl second. Always. That's just the way I am. I'm now doing vinyl more as a collector's thing, to have the collectible to enjoy and hold and look at. You know, I still think when the day comes that I keep hoping for, that I move out of here and into a bigger place without the neighbors, because as I'm doing this, there's somebody stirring about up there. The whole time I'm doing it, listening to every word I'm saying, probably up there. But anyway, I'm hoping that I'm going to be playing physical vinyl more than I do when that day comes. But by that time, hopefully I still have my hearing and everything else. I'm listening to John Lennon's Sometime in New York City from beginning to end and loving it. Good for you, Elliot. It's the most underrated album of all. It's not John's best album, Lord knows, but I love it. I love it. I was wondering what I was going to have. What's your favorite American band of the 60s? You say the Byrds. Oh, man. American band. How about the Monkees? Beach Boys. I don't really love the Beach Boys, but Flaming Pie and Every Night at the Fonda show last night. My insurance turned down my request for the weight loss Ozempic. So I see my local grocery has Haagen-Dazs buy one, get one. Maybe next time. Been there, done that. Hello, Eddie. Greetings. Hello, Curtis. Do you think that Paul's Man on the Run was better than Beatles Anthology 4? What do you mean, the audio? If you talk about the audio release, music release, I'll take Anthology 4 every day over Man on the Run. Okay, I can still remember seeing Paul playing back in Liverpool 1990 wearing that costume where they all had big badges or medals on their jackets. Albert Dock. We had all the time in the world. Hello, Harold. Hello. I always think we can rely on Paul to entertain us, but we also need John to grind our gears. Yeah. That's it. Have you read all of John Lennon's poetry? No, I have not. Some fan I am. Huh? No, I have not read all John's stuff. Do you think Eric Clapton is overrated? Not at all. I think Eric Clapton's great. Don't think he's overrated at all. The cover is too plain and drab to add to the experience. Maybe if it showed a street in Liverpool with the sign, it would be more iconic. People are going to say, Gary, they're going to say, who cares about the cover? We don't listen to the cover. We're here for the music. What about the songs? It's about the music, not the cover. Having said that, yeah, I also think the cover's pretty drab. Paul's got some drab covers, man. I remember Memory Almost Full's cover with the chair. With a chair on it. But yeah, I just don't think it's a very good cover. It is what it is. Am I going to let that dictate what I think of the music inside? No. But I just don't understand why people, this is what I was saying earlier about being negative or something. This is what I mean. You get one person says, hey, I love the album. Oh, what a great album. Oh, I love the new song. It's a great new song. The cover, don't like the cover too much. I wish it was more exciting. Okay? Nothing wrong with that. Another person says, what are you going to be so negative for? You don't listen. You don't play the cover. Stop being so negative. I'm out of here. Bye. That's what that's what it is. Anyway, I love that Dungeon Lane cover, and some people love it. I may grow to love it. Right now, I think it's kind of dull. I mean, I appreciate the sign. It's a nice sign, definitely. So many people today were not alive when our heroes were living and performing. We have a special bond with them because we are older. I remember those days. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see them on the Ed Sullivan Show, but I remember watching the Beatle cartoons when I was just learning how to walk. Maybe I think I was already walking by then. I was older. I don't know what am I talking about. I was 5. God's sake! But I learned how to walk at 5. Anyway, 4 or 5 years old. Anyway, yeah. Never mind my earlier comment then. I thought you pay $52 for just the shipping. Oh, God. That was a waste of time we had, wasn't it there? That was a waste of time we had. I remember when I was 8 years old going back to the back of Corvette's record department. I remember Corvette's very well. And the clerk opened a brown box and handed me a copy before they put it on the shelves. Yeah. Those were the days, weren't they? Take it away. I love that song too. I know Tom Agnotti would probably have a heart attack because he loves that song too. Yeah, it would be nice to see that. I was at Yankee Stadium with my sister when Paul played the night before. It was great. You must have been pretty young then. How old were you then? I agree with Michael Noland. I think Paul's new song is among the best he ever wrote. Lyrics are great. Yeah, I said that earlier that, they're good, they're really good lyrics, but I have to read them and listen a lot more times for them to be among the greatest the greatest literature I ever heard or something. I mean, anyway. I hear your reasoning on choosing McCartney too, Joe. I was 15 when the McCartney album came out. So let's not argue because those are days we left behind. See what I did there? I sure do. I sure do. The days we left behind. Oh, I've just watched the night before at Yankee Stadium. Geez, that's good. Thanks, Joe. It makes me want to cry. Makes me want to cry. Yeah. The Beatles do a version of, did the Beatles do? Yes, they did. They did it the night before on the BBC in 65. That's the only alternate version of the night before that we have at the moment, hopefully one day, I don't know if there are any other outtakes of the night before vocally, but hopefully one day we get the Help album with other albums coming out in a deluxe set, and hopefully we get another version of the night before. But right now, BBC in 65 is the only alternate version of the night before. I often think if I could write a song as good as the night before, you can't do that, I would let the good Lord take me immediately and I would be forever happy. Amazing songs. Agree with Michael Noland. I think the new song is among the best he ever wrote. Lyrics are pretty good too. I love hearing that. I love hearing that. That's great praise. I'm not ready to say that yet. I say I really like the song a lot. It's very emotional and, very touching. And it's a very good song. I have to listen to it more before I really am ready to call it one of the best things he ever wrote, though. What's your favorite borough of New York City? Never really thought about that. I don't know. Suffolk? I don't have a favorite. Beach Boys are putting out various editions of Pet Sounds for the 50th anniversary, including a Zoetrope. Hey, boy. Look at this. Pet Sounds is atrocious and a crime to music. Now I'm going to lose a lot of people, but, I don't like Pet Sounds either. I think it's way overrated. Sorry. But having said that, I do love, Wouldn't It Be Nice? And I like God Only Knows, and maybe Sloop John B is okay, I've always loved Hold Me Tight. So do I. I don't believe Paul was ever played that. Oh, you're talking about the Beatles Hold Me Tight. I don't know about that. And from Wings, he never played Big Barn Bed in concert. I love Hold Me Tight by the Beatles, and I love Big Barn Bed as well. So there you go. I know he played Big Barn Bed in the early 70s, I believe, but not in recent, not in since 1989. Yeah, we're not going to talk about politics, okay? Fuck that. So tired of that crap. There's a lot of stupidity in politics on every side. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of all the division. I'm tired of the division that politics does, man. The way I always feel like is too bad. I'm doing politics now a little bit. If you're in America, right? I don't know why everybody can. I'm talking about any year. I'm not talking about now. I'm not talking about 5 years ago, 10, 20, 30. I just wish everybody could come together. That's all I wish. Ringo hit the top 40 with a dose of rock and roll and Rack My Brain. Two good overlooked songs. What do you think? Yeah, I think that both songs are pretty good. Yeah, I think they're good, solid Ringo songs. Yeah, I like Rack My Brain better, I think. Yeah. If you saw Paul live for a 12th time, what obscure song would you want to hear? Well, it's not obscure, but I always wish that I could hear him do Uncle Albert, Admiral Halsey. That is assuming he could get an arrangement of it that would work without Linda. You'd need some. Linda really is a vital part of that record, as far as I'm concerned. Someone is appreciating that Dungeon Lane sign as we speak. The replacement now has 24-hour security on it. I heard that people are telling me that somebody stole the Dungeon Lane sign. And then I heard, no, it was just the ad campaign where it looked like a kid was stealing it. It's not real. Nobody stole it. What's the truth? I remember the Abbey Road cover. I felt it added to the fantastic music on the record. I often look at covers when I listen to vinyl. Exactly. There's an example of Sgt. Pepper. I mean, imagine looking at that cover while you're listening to that music in the 60s. Wanderlust is underappreciated. I think people like Wanderlust, but lyrics are a hymn. Well, better than this new one. I love Wanderlust. I just hate that it's about marijuana. But what are you going to do? What is that Boris Karloff poster? It's from a movie from 1945 called The Body Snatcher. Yeah. Hello, Robbie. What's going on? In the middle of moving. Oh, wow. You're always on the go, right? 25 U-Haul boxes of records. I'm moving. This is what you have to look forward to when you move. I'm listening while I work. Oh, good. I'm getting older, man. I'm getting older. I don't feel like lugging all that crap around. That's another part of the reason why I'm getting rid of a lot of records. Yeah, I am. Get rid of records. If anybody out there who knows me is interested in ever looking through my records when the time comes, I'll give you like a shot at them. If you know me and you're close, I mean, we're relatively able to get together or something. Like, we'll see. I highly recommend the We Gotta Groove Beach Boys box set. It covers the Love You and 15 Big Ones albums with the unreleased Adult Child album. I think I know what you mean with that one. The Night Before tells the same story as the Bob Dylan song, I Don't Believe You. She acts like we never have met. Yeah. The release info on the album suggests that Paul is doing it mostly solo. The info also promises Wings-style rock and Beatles harmonies. It will be interesting to see how he pulls that off. Oh, man, we'll see. We'll see. Would love to hear Paul do Girl School. Good one. That's a good one. I hated Pet Sounds the first time I heard it. It's grown on me over the years. Now it is at least tolerable. I gave it like 3 chances over time. It's not for me. War is over if you want it. Oh, come on. No politics here. Sick of it. Big Barn Bed is a real mover. Rack My Brain was written by George. Yeah. Yep, absolutely right. I didn't know Denny Lane actually played on a lot of Tug of War as well as provided background vocals. Yeah, he had something. He was still in the picture. He was still in the picture. The ad campaign with the kids stealing the sign would be an incredible album cover, in my opinion, much better than the Chosen one. When I saw Paul in concert at the Madison Square Garden in 1989, I remember being shocked that he sang Things We Said Today because I thought it was such an obscure song at the time. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, that's the kind of thing we like hearing, right? Yeah, exactly. I would love Paul to play Dear Friend. What a beautiful song. It is a beautiful song. I wonder if he could sing it. Maybe. I also think the picture of the kid holding the dungeon sign while running is a marketing stunt. Because on Paul's site, they are selling a Dungeon Lane street sign for $50. That would be interesting for fans to get like a replica of the Dungeon Lane sign and hang it up. I was at a train station in China last year listening to Pet Sounds while I waited. I'm starting to like it more than ever, but it's not my favorite. I remember coming home from Corvettes with a copy of Venus and Mars and going into my bedroom, putting the album on and dissecting the artwork and the posters, inserts, and stickers. Those were the days. Yeah, I know what you mean, Elliot. Fun times, fun times. Agreed. Hey, I'm all caught up with the comments. We're almost 90 minutes in. Might be time to end this particular session. It's been a great one. It's been a great one. Okay. I happen to love Pet Sounds and bought just about all the new variations, but I'm still here. Very good. Why did Wings end? Surely he could have got newer members, or was it a better for a marketing move just to have Paul McCartney? That's kind of answered a bit in the new Man on the Run documentary film. I don't know. I think Paul, reflecting on it now, tries to make it sound like he kind of like maybe wanted to stop Wings. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I wonder if that's true or not. I wonder if he kind of says that in the aftermath now because the end of Wings wasn't so well received. Back to the a very underrated album in my opinion, a favorite of mine, was not well received. So maybe he likes to say, well, I was kind of done with Wings by then anyway, kind of thing to justify it. I really don't know. And I really think the Japan bust, in my opinion, I think the bust in Japan, the drug bust, pop bust, is what soured them. I really think, they would if it had been a successful, if Back to the Egg had been a fairly successful album, as successful as Paul likes to be, and if the 1980 tour of Japan had happened with Wings, and Paul hadn't been busted for pot, I have a feeling that he would have had a different feeling about Wings. But that's kind of goes without saying, doesn't it, really? The McCartney-Streisand duet, My Valentine, showed the weakness in Paul's voice in comparison to Streisand. Yeah, I forgot about that. I do remember hearing that, yeah. I checked out Pet Sounds because of how negative you were in it, and that old video of yours, and I ended up loving it. That's fine. That's fine. We're all different. There's nothing better than a first-time spin or listen to a new Beatles or solo Beatles release. No other artist has the same feeling on release day for me. But there were solo Beatle albums I did not love on first spin. I did give them a few spins. Did Paul and Denny stay close years after Wings? I'm not really an authority on this. I thought they had a kind of falling out, but I think things got better. That's what I think. If I opened a record store, can I use the name Corvettes? Yeah. I don't know. I thought Pet Sounds sounded like adult music when I was 8 in 1966. 20 years later, I loved it. Let's hear it. I was going to give you the Godzilla. Then I said, no Godzilla this time. I'm going to leave it out with this one. Huh? Wings has never been a band. It's just Paul McCartney. There is a comedian here in the UK, and he says Wings were the band the Beatles could have been. Oh, yeah, that's right. Funny. Uh, Baby's Request is another great song from Back to the Egg. I like the song Baby's Request. I like it a lot. I just don't think it suits the tone of the album. It's more of a rockin' album, but I like it. I've read that in 1980, Paul stopped in New York City in an attempt to see John on the way to Japan. I didn't know if that was the last time they got together. I don't think so, but I don't know. Many, many singers' voices are weak compared to Barbara's. It's not an insult to Paul. Typical March today in the 30s, and by Wednesday it'll be 80. Exactly, Gary. Hello, Michael. I'm going to have to say hello and goodbye because I'm not going to be on much longer. So, Paul, Linda, and Denny could have played together in the early 90s. Well, maybe I'll end it there. Wait a minute. No, hold on a minute. We were told that the album was completed and the delay was due to the cover art. Obviously, this raised expectations far above the cover. Doesn't matter. Give us the music now. Still don't think it's much of a cover, Baby's Request was originally written for the Mills Brothers. Come on. Still got comments coming, or where are we at? So we're 90 minutes in. I think I'll let it go. This was a lot of fun. I really appreciate this. Once again, please consider subscribing to my other channels. I'm going to put this one up, which I have not put up yet here. This one here, please subscribe. I'm trying to build this channel up a little bit. And you can see what is involved in the channel. It tells you right there. We got also something I have to talk about. Danny, my friend Danny, he said, you keep forgetting to mention me. Over at this channel, Mayo Loves Mondays, Danny and I do a live stream where we kind of bust each other's balls and stuff like that. Over at Mayo Loves Mondays, we do that show usually Wednesday mornings, but it's early in the morning live, 8 a.m. Eastern, but you can always watch the replay. And, this is about life. It's about life, managing your life. Don't be afraid by the word retirement if you're not retired. It's not just retired stuff. It's just lifestyles in general, dealing with stuff. The rants are like things in life that we get under our skin. Sometimes we talk about there and stuff like that. So please consider joining there. And lastly, of course, this channel. Here's another channel. This is the movies, television, nostalgia, pop culture. It's got all kinds of stuff from autograph collecting to comic books to movie reviews, to television reviews. We do a nice show there too, a live stream on Monday evenings, usually, or late afternoon or evenings. We do a movie discussion show. We talk about movies. So it's the Mayo trifecta. I leave you now saying thank you, everybody. Please support me. Please subscribe to this channel that you're watching now. And please try the other channels because this is what I call the Mayo trifecta. There's 3 Bs there, 3 channels, and you never know what's going to pop up on any of them. So I appreciate all of your support, and I always shall. Thanks a lot, everybody.